Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday, where Miraidon EX from Scarlet and Violet base set faces off against Tsareena V from Fusion Strike. This game comes from round 2 of Swiss of the December 2024 Eternal Format Tournament that took place here in San Antonio, Texas, at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch. If you're new here, you might be wondering what the Eternal format even is. In short, it's the unlimited format with a ban list. This means that deck builders can venture all the way back to the very start of the Pokemon trading card game and make use of cards that aren't legal in the official standard or even the expanded format. This large card pool creates an exciting and fun, rich deck building experience that can be endlessly enjoyable for all types of players of the Pokemon trading card game. From the most skilled to the newest of new, from the biggest tryhard to the kitchen table champion, the Eternal format has something for everyone. Unsure where to get started? I've got a getting started video on this very YouTube channel that is a great crash course for how to get into the format. Additionally, there is now a page on justinbasil.com that features a wide variety of decks for the Eternal format. Both this page and the getting started video are linked in this video's description. Now, on to today's game. Players are now set up, ready to go. We have Miraidon in the active spot and Latias EX in the active spot for the other side here. Our Tsareena player got Squawkabilly and Tsareena on the bench turn 1 and the Battle Compressor. That's quite a start. Our Miraidon player here is a little rusty. They haven't been playing the game for a while. They just came back to the tournament. So if they make some weird plays, just understand they are rusty. All the same, we do see double Giratina coming down. Well, maybe not double Giratina after all. Second guessing themselves, doing just the one and a lightning energy. Probably preparing for the Tapu Koko possibility. Tapu Koko Prism Star, of course, going to let them do a double energy attached to the bench with lightning energy from the discard pile. However, they are, in fact, choosing to just go ahead and get that second Giratina. Here we got a manual attachment on that Tsareena V. Going to drop the Skyfield and draw some cards off of that Crobat V's ability. Here we have the player trying to show me their hand and going, look at how crazy this is. Yeah. So their hand is a bit nuts and they're going to just nuke it with Squawk. So you saw the Celebies go in the discard pile there. Saw Giratina go in the discard pile. It looks like a Float Stone or Forest Seal Stone. Can't quite make out which that is. It might be a Forest Seal Stone on that Crobat V. So that our player here can just get whatever they want. We are going to see a Wobbuffet drop down to the bench, which is not, is very much not what our Miraidon player wants to see here. They do have a Pidgey on the bench, but I pretty much guarantee that this Latias is going to go ahead and retreat for free with its ability and throw that Wobbuffet into the active spot to just kind of ruin the Miraidon player's day, shutting off Tandem Unit and a big part of its ball searcher, or non-ball search in this case, its Pokemon search, which just not so great. Tapu Koko Prism Star coming down there. That is going to be a way to help accelerate energy to that Tsareena V. This is the... Wow, that's crazy. So that energy is already touched Tsareena V. That Tsareena V is now fully powered up and ready to attack. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first turn of the game still, so no attack this turn. But like I said, that Wobbuffet has got to go to the active spot to slow stuff down, prevent that Miraidon player from having a good time. Contemplating throwing all those Giratina down just to take out that Pidgey. Might not be the worst play in the world, but they are saying, you know what, actually, let's use these Celebi instead. We're just going to throw the Wobbuffet in the active. So they've recovered the Celebi with the Rescue Carrier, chose not to leave those in the discard pile. Left those for Giratina in the discard pile. They're not going to play them down, looks like. They could have taken a knockout on that Pidgey. That Pidgey only has 40 HP. They chose not to, but okay. Tapu Koko Prism Star coming down on the other side of the field. Tapu Koko Prism Star, pretty good stuff. Looks like we got a Field Blower blowing away that Skyfield. Not really that devastating. Probably a bit of a waste, honestly, of that Field Blower. I don't think it was really necessary, but they did just pass over to our Tsareena player. It looks like our Tsareena player is once again playing the game here. Gonna play down Celebi EX to pull a card from the discard pile and put it on top of their deck. So any card they want. Skyfield looks like it might be the one going back. Nope, Forest Seal Stone is going to go back. That was blowered away in addition to the Skyfield, maybe a bit better of a target. I guess I can't fault them too much for also getting rid of the Skyfield, but that Celebi EX is going to allow them to get back basically whatever they want anyway. I know both players' hands getting shuffled away and down to the bottom of the deck. Both players drawing 6 cards. Another Battle Compressor is going to find more cards that our Celebi player wants to find in the discard pile. So potentially a Ditto or an Unknown, for example. Unknown can be rescue carried back into play and used that way. We do see Mesprit coming into the discard pile. With the craziness of that Celebi EX, you could even just discard Prime Catcher and get it back whenever you want it, which if you saw last week's game, pretty much is how the game went. We are going to, in fact, see a discard pile, a discarding of the Prime Catcher, question mark? Maybe. Looks like potentially they're changing their mind. They maybe are going to go with retire, no, going with the research instead. They did look like for a second they were going to go with the retire Unknown, but they chose to not to do that. They got the Forest Sealstone going to be used there, getting a card out of the deck. If I had to imagine, this is probably going to be a Skyfield. Skyfield 100% of the time. That lets the player retreat out of Wobbuffet, attack with the Tsareena. Tsareena should still have all the energy it needs to attack from last turn. We have Rescue Carrier being contemplated and then used. Mesprit and Ditto coming into play. Mesprit is going to shut off all Poke Powers on the opponent's side, and then Celebi will turn around and choose a card from the discard pile to put back on top of the deck. So we see a discard off Ultra Ball. Did not see what card got put on top of the deck, but it did not get drawn, so I'm not sure what's going on there. It might just be a case of them needing extra cards on the bench to do damage here. We do see a Ultra Ball getting what looks like to be the Retire Unknown, so they can draw cards off of it, but oh nope, choosing instead to get Tsareena V. Realizing if they're going to attack with Tsareena V, they need to have an alternate attacker getting it ready to go. The Ditto from Fire Red and Leaf Green here coming down, question mark, maybe not. The player here is questioning their choices. There's the retreat. Tsareena V going to go knocking out the active with enough discards here. So we're going to discard the Celebi, discard the Giratina, the Squawkabilly, the Mesprit, and the Crobat. All of them being discarded. So it's 5 discards. That is going to be a knockout on Miraidon EX. Miraidon cannot take that heat. And 2 prize cards are going to the Tsareena player. Another Miraidon coming down. This time we do not have Wobbuffet in the active spot, so Miraidon can use its Tandem Unit ability. Let's use find two lightning type Pokemon that are basic. Throw them down on your bench. In this case, we have our player finding a Miraidon, or not Miraidon, a Raikou V and another Miraidon. Miraidon, of course, that second Miraidon going to use its Tandem Unit ability to find Iron Hands EX. I'm going to use ability markers instead of big turns on those cards just to make things a lot clearer. Of course, those Pokemon cannot be paralyzed on the bench, which is what that turn indicates. And then we have a rearrangement of the cards just to make sure that we are understanding where everything is. We do see a Latias EX coming down on the opponent's side here. So Miraidon going to be having a Latias EX on its own side. So both players have a Latias of their own. Going to choose to pop the Tapu Koko with Dance the Ancients from the bench there on the Miraidon side, getting a couple energy into play, and then retreating the Raikou into the active spot so that the active Raikou can do a little bit of a fleet-footed and hopefully find another energy to attach for turn. But unfortunately, it looks like that was a whiff. There was no energy available to attach manually. Unfortunately, that's going to probably spell disaster for the Miraidon player here, because Tsareena already powered up, already ready to attack, and can pretty easily take a KO here. Whiffing is pretty unlikely. It just has to get Pokemon back into play, and we already know that they have 4 Giratina in the discard pile, so they can flood their board quite quickly. That can just getting the Giratina in play can already knock out the Pidgey on the bench, and there's a lot more than that available to take KOs on. So Squishy Raikou gonna be a victim here in just a moment with that big kick from Tsareena. Do you see a unknown, or that is a retire unknown in the discard pile now? I believe off of that battle compressor. Get shuffled back up. Potentially, nope, making another choice about what to discard off of battle compressor. Oh, nope, that was actually a shuffle. A real shuffle this time. All right. Now we have 4 Pokemon on the bench for Tsareena. We need to make that more if they're going to not just lose everything they have in play. So we're going to see a couple of Giratina come down most likely. There is one Giratina, making choices about where to put the other damage counter. So with Giratina, you're choosing 2 Pokemon on your opponent's bench to put a damage counter on each. So in this case, he's putting a damage counter on the Pidgey and a damage counter on
have all of them.
the Latias. It looks like they're putting enough damage into play in this case that Pidgey will be knocked out this turn. So that is going to be another prize card for our Tsareena player. And we have Oricorio coming down. Oricorio, maybe not the most useful thing, but they could just discard it off of the attack for Tsareena. Playing that Professor's Research, drawing into a Celebi EX, choosing a card from the discard pile, throwing it on the top. Going to be able to draw into that next turn. We do have the Prime Catcher forcing up that Latias EX, going to take away the free retreat on the opponent's side here. We have an Electric Energy coming, or a Lightning Energy rather, coming down onto Tsareena V. And here we have a triple discard, quadruple discard, almost a quintuple discard. There's the quintuple. So we're going to get the 5 discarded here and going to take that knockout on the Latias EX. Latias goes poof. It's another 2 prize cards for the Tsareena player. Now our Tsareena player only needs to take just 1 prize card to win the game. That Pidgey going down, that was a 3 prize turn. So 2 prizes plus 3 prizes is just 1 prize card remaining. So any knockout here at this moment from the Tsareena player will take the game. So far, the Miraidon player still has yet to set up. That Wobbuffet turn 1 really slowed them down to a not happy degree. We do see a successful hit on Max Elixir, putting our Miraidon player right on the cusp of being able to attack. But we have, okay, so Electric Generator being found off of this Arven. And it looks like that might be all they're choosing to get. Choosing not to get a tool. Not sure if that's just because they couldn't find a tool they want to use, or if they just didn't have a tool to target. But they are just going to shuffle up, and I think that's all she wrote. Because it does not look like Miraidon's going to be able to attack. Even if it does, it's not going to take much for Tsareena to just take the game here. Did hit 2 Lightning Energy off of that Electric Generator, so that much is good. That means Miraidon will be able to attack. I believe the active Pokemon there is a free retreater, or at least one that can retreat with that 1 energy on the active. What is that? It's a Raikou. Okay, so the Raikou, yeah, single retreat. That Tsareena does go down, but the Tsareena doesn't really care. He just has to find, the Tsareena player here just has to find a Grass Energy. Raihan's going to do that for him. That's game. There are a million different ways that could make sure they have enough Pokemon to discard here. The Giratinas, literally anything from the discard pile, going to guarantee that knockout, going to make this a very quick and frankly painful. You see how he's playing it out. He's saying, look, this is what I can do. I can just throw these Giratinas on the board, nuke whatever with it, and then just discard my stuff, and I would take the game. So that is Tsareena. Terrifying deck, frankly. Probably currently the best deck in the format. And it's fairly new as an entrant, but, you know, it is what it is. New does not mean bad. Up first, we have Miraidon Pidgeot. This is actually a very well-known deck here in the Eternal format. This is running the Pidgeot engine. It's only running the Fire Red and Leaf Green Pidgeot in this particular case. It's not running Pidgeot EX, but it is still running a Pidgeot engine because you're able to get those Pidgeys out with Miraidon's Tandem Unit ability. You still have access to Max Elixir. You have access to Electric Generator, so you can get lots of energy into play quickly. You have access to Iron Hands, so you can use that Ampu very much to really help yourself with the prize trade. And thanks to Surging Sparks, you also now have access to Latias EX, meaning that the vast majority of your Pokemon now also can retreat for free. Basically, you're doing fairly quick damage, you're able to power up fairly quickly, and you have lots of tools, like Electro Power available to you to make it even easier to hit the numbers you need to hit to take big KOs. And then secondly, we have Tsareena V. Now, I talked about this deck a little bit more in depth last week. If you missed last week's Eternal Monday, I recommend you go back and hit that up. But basically, Tsareena says, let me nuke my bench, let me do lots of damage, and then I'll recover what I need to. You have tools available to you, things like Rescue Carrier, that lets you get low HP Pokemon straight into your hand. Oftentimes, you'll find Celebi EX and Unknown to draw whatever card it is that Celebi gets you off the top of your deck. Celebi, of course, we've been talking about how it's a little on the powerful side and is being currently evaluated for its status in the format. Very much right now, it is seeming like a supercharged Puzzle of Time. If you know what that card is and its status in the format, you know that maybe not the best status for Celebi to have at the moment, but that is what it is. All the same though, this deck is very consistent. It's very powerful. It has lots of draw available to it. It has Mine in it. It has Oricorio. It has Crobat. It has Squawkabilly. It just has everything it needs when it needs it because it can nuke whatever it doesn't need whenever it wants to. And that's Tsareena. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next video.